Hi, my name's R.A. Clarke, also known as Rachael Clarke, and I am the author of Race to Novus, which is my debut sci-fi western novel, which is coming out on April 4th, 2024. Very excited for it to be coming out. It's the first of a planned trilogy, so there'll be a couple more following it. I wanted to more so treat you guys with a bit of a sample. I wanted to read a chapter for you today. I chose chapter 3 as a fun one I thought that I could share with you all, and I hope you'll enjoy it. If it piques your interest, definitely consider grabbing a copy when it comes out. I can't wait for the world to be able to read this and enjoy it, hopefully. So here we go. I'm going to start reading chapter 3 from Race to Novus. Enjoy! Nearly an hour later, most racers had been registered, implanted, and pointed toward their designated spaces along the sprawling red start line. Old Floppy Ears had walked by several minutes ago, announcing the race would begin as soon as everyone was in place. Craning my neck, I spied the last competitors making their way to their spots. Any time now. While Herc topped up on water I'd poured from an outdoor tap, I surveyed their competition. What a collection of individuals! Life forms of all shapes, sizes, colors, and consistencies were on display. There were the slender and ever-grumpy ganglions, the statuesque Pembrew, Z-boards like Georgette, slippery-faced Tumka, and spotted Fidu. I also spied eight-limbed Monem, spike-backed Lashies, and translucent-skinned Nirsu, among countless other species of alien residing within a month's travel of hops. Not many humans, though. Sarah, Griggs, and I were among the few. Well, Sarah was half human anyway. Her other half was a reviled reptilian species, but thankfully she hadn't inherited many Crimean features. The faint texture to her skin gave her enough trouble as it was. Her lineage didn't bother me at all, though. To me, Sarah was good people, until proven otherwise. I was happy the three of us had connected on board the ship during our 4-week journey to Joya. Despite being fully prepared to race alone, the idea of forming an alliance had grown on me. The majority of the racers kept busy tinkering with their machines or sizing each other up. Not counting Georgette and myself, the field consisted of mechanical vehicles propelled by all manner of wheels, skids, or tracks. I had seen a few hover ships earlier in the day, but sadly none made the cut during inspection. I'd witnessed one such rejection up close, en route to our spot. "Flag off, you slaggers!" a Cessian had shouted, slamming his fist onto the governess inspector's table. He had a pale grey skin and striking eyes, just like the two governess representatives I'd met earlier. In response, the governess inspector stood tall, crossing his arms. "A hovercraft does not have wheels, therefore it travels by air. Air travel is not permissible. It said so clearly in the rules. You shouldn't have brought it." He swept a clawed hand toward the sweep. "If you wish to race on foot, be my guest. If not, kindly remove yourself from this line. My decision is final." "Nobody on the transport told me it would be rejected," the Cessian growled. "The transport is just that, a transport. It's not their race to govern." The livid racer thrust 2 crossed fingers into the inspector's face. "The transport ship departs for Hob tomorrow." The inspector calmly held up a credit wand. "Here, please have a drink on governess for your trouble. Just hold up your wrist cuff." "A drink? A drink?" The Cessian swung a fist at the inspector, who skillfully dodged it before pushing the man back and sent him flying. 2 governess guards swooped in from nearby and captured the offender's arms, dragging him backward. The inspector held up a hand and the guards paused. "No, I insist." He approached and tapped his credit wand to the seething racer's cuff. "Safe travels home." Then the inspector waved him away. What a gut punch that must have been. Ousted racers aside, the general mood on the line was a mix of cheerfulness and impatience, with a few token faces looking like they'd just gulped some sour milk. Some racers interacted while others kept to themselves. Arguments or fights broke out now and again. One Tumka dude down the road even sang to pass the time, his less-than-melodic opera earning him several requests to shut up. But the guy just laughed, his generous, gelatinous belly jiggling as he belted it out. Georgette wasn't far away, and he seemed to get a real kick out of the crooner's infectious cheeriness. His unmistakable guffaws sliced through the din with ease. But many, like me, stared ahead, contemplating the raw alien expanse of forest that lay before us. The sweep. Herc finished his water, and I collapsed the container, tucking it into a saddlebag. Wiping the sweat from my brow, I clipped the edge of my retinal monitor, wincing as a twinge shot through my temple. The doctor had said that it would take a few hours to get used to the implant. At first, it had tingled, which I didn't mind, but now it felt like a nasty sunburn, mixed with the odd needle poke. I wasn't overly keen about having governess in my head either, but at least the reasoning they gave made some sense. With all of the action of the race, external cameras could be lost or broken too easily. In order to thoroughly monitor and respond to medical emergencies, the cameras had to be reliable. I caught eyes with Sarah down the line on my right and waved. She'd brought a bright orange and yellow biomech suit. It was capable of tripling an athletic human's natural speed, a sport model, though all mechs were still bulky. At least it would do most of the hard work for her. I noticed the same tall, green-cloaked racer from earlier claiming his designated spot 5 down from my right. The hood hid his facial features well, yet he looked up enough once for me to see he was a ganglion. That explained the height. He caught my curious glance and glared back. Averting my gaze, I focused on Griggs, a few bodies away in the opposite direction. He shot me a quick smile. Dimples on display. Ignoring the faintest tingle that caused, I tipped my hat in return. Being an ex-military guy, I thought he'd be driving some huge beast of a machine, but no. He rode a sleek, chrome-covered spirocycle, designed to travel light and low to the ground. Its hybrid engine was powered by both the driver's foot rotations and fuel. "You ready to rock?" he asked, quoting one of his favorite slang terms from the 21st century. Griggs had quite the obsession with pre-contact Earth culture. Some of the things that interested him were just bizarre, like the internet, muscle cars, or rap music. I scoured my brain and then replied, "You got it, dude." "Nice! A late 20th century catchphrase. You've been paying attention." He flashed me a thumbs up and then pulled on his helmet. Reclining in the seat of his cycle, he stretched his feet to the pedals. Then, reaching forward, he pulled down the handlebars, ready to go. "What about you, bud? Are you ready to rock?" I smiled at Herc, rubbing his muzzle. He bobbed his head and stomped, as if impatient for the race to start. I heard the faintest hum as his robotic eye scanned left and right. It shone blue again, a good sign. He was settling in to the near-constant engine revving and cacophony of voices surrounding us. I tightened the braids woven into his mane and then gave the saddle a once-over for good measure. There was nothing to do now but wait. Questions niggled in my brain as I administered the rolling as I admired the rolling plain. Long emerald, blueberry, and straw-colored grasses rippled rhythmically to a melody the wind created. Roughly a mile up ahead, the sweeping expanse disappeared into the mysterious forest, which stretched on for an interminable distance. What existed there remained completely unknown. Questions snuck into my mind. Was I right to take this gamble and come here? Isn't gambling exactly what I've been trying to atone for the last 3 years? Am I even strong enough to do this? "Hey, human!" a throaty voice boomed from my right. The ganglion, who'd seemingly taken a shine to glaring at me, motioned for my attention with a flick of his wrist. He stood tall beside his robust motorcycle-looking rig, with thick pipes sticking out the sides like stubby wings, the whole thing covered in hand-painted symbols. His slender, sinewy form looked odd next to that beast of a machine, like a full-grown bull rubbing up against a flagpole. Several sets of curious eyes swung my way. "The name's Finn," I clarified with a nod, forcing a smile. "Yeah, whatever." He let his hood fall to his shoulders, and he strode closer, passing the other machines between us. He looked Hercules up and down. Fleshy, scale-like protrusions covering his skin twitched as his thin lips curled in amusement. "You really expect to compete with this?" Laughing, he slowed to a halt a few feet away. "Most certainly," I replied evenly. already sensing now how this interaction was likely to proceed. Typical ganglion with his mightier-than-thou attitude. Ever since the trade accord was signed, allowing them to do business with green-listed planets, they'd been a barely tolerated presence within the civilized Galaxium. If not for the vast mineral resources and innovative technology Ganglia produced, nobody would even give them the time of day. A surprised reaction was understandable, though, since there weren't many horses in these parts. Not yet, anyway. I aimed to change that. However, I didn't get the feeling he was merely surprised. I didn't like the way he was sneering at my horse. This is an Earth horse, correct? A flesh and blood creature? He scoffed, reaching a lanky arm to poke one of Hercules' metallic front legs. Well, mostly. Hey, no touching! I moved between the ganglion and my mount. Herc sidestepped, snorting behind me, and the unsavory fellow backed off, but only slightly. Can I help you with something specific, mister? Twisting his narrow features into a sneer, he answered, Rachael. Then he glanced around, raising his voice. And help from a human? Never. A few snickers filtered into my ears. There was obviously more than one Earth hater in this lineup, a fact which only reinforced the need to watch my back. Humans were nearly as despised as Crimeans by a select minority. When humans first achieved sustainable long-range space travel and encountered life on other planets, they'd been viewed as rudimentary at first, like cute little babies that knew nothing. It was true in a way. Humanity had barely begun their quest for the stars. Yet, over time, being nothing if not determined, humans worked hard to harness more advanced tech and forged peaceful relations with other species. Then, about 100 years ago, Earth played a large role in creating transport conduits that regulated and allowed efficient travel for all treated planets within the Galaxium. Humans claimed a place in the upper echelon of civilized cultures. However, regulating the trade routes pissed off a lot of folks, especially the black market planets with their beyond-the-law business ventures. And the lingering bad blood never seemed to scrub out of the carpet. Yeah, all right. I tipped my hat in a curt gesture, opting to disengage. Well, since we have no business with each other, you best get back to your spot, then. Oh, don't mind my curiosity, Rachael continued exaggeratedly, adding a faux polite nod. I just couldn't contain myself. I simply had to come see this slovenly creature up close. He took a step back, eyes lingering a second too long on Herc's saddlebags. Slovenly, I replied flatly, doing a poor job at hiding my irritation. I'd had just about enough of this guy. Clearly, he'd deemed anything earthly as less than. If I let it slide, I'd only add fuel to his misguided beliefs, but I didn't want a confrontation either. So I opted for the competitive answer. Well, I guess we'll see, won't we? Raker's eyes narrowed. Yes, we will, indeed. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, breaking our standoff. The governess representative strode past the start line into the field, and with a league of underlings in tow. They called for quiet from both the racers and the colonists who'd gathered to watch the proceedings. Excitement quashed the impatience previously written on everyone's faces. The dapper-looking leaders held their heads high, showcasing the polite disinterest typical of a big corporation. Like other such businesses, buying up new planets had made them powerful, their operations expanding and turning profit from mining ore and other precious materials wherever they laid claim, or took a claim from a lesser company. Perhaps that's why I'd been surprised by the race advertisement at first, wondering why such a prominent company would give away free land. It seemed odd, but they were also huge on colonizing, and that equaled money too. They must have had a clear strategy fueling their decision. The governess representative's reserved expressions broke into gregarious smiles. The woman with gray skin and those startling blue eyes took a step forward, her arms spread wide. Greetings! I am a CEO of Governess, Kana Linate. This is my business partner, Seal. She motioned to the half-bionic man beside her. "And we'd like to officially welcome you all to our newest and very beautiful planet, Joya." A metallic insignia of 3 triangles framing a planet glinted in the sun on each of their bowler hats. Rachael shot me one last glare, then strode back to his own space. Ignoring him, I focused on the CEO. Here we go. Governess is currently celebrating our 150th year in business. To commemorate that amazing milestone, we planned this race as a way to give back and pay our prosperity forward. Canna paused for applause before continuing, her voice echoing from the loudspeakers erected along the start line. "Now I trust you've all signed the contract, read the rules, and are aware of the dangers. Each of you has been outfitted with an implant that allows us to visually monitor the race and provide updates to the residents here, who will be eagerly cheering you on. Since we're dealing with uncharted lands, monitoring was a prudent safety protocol to implement. I'm sure you understand." She pressed her palms together in front of her chest, then swung one arm out toward the trees in the distance. "Beyond the sweep lies Novus, a fledgling settlement, and 50 free parcels of fertile land. But you won't just find land there, you'll find dreams, too. The kind that come true." A few hoots erupted from the crowd, and the CEO smiled, her lips wide yet tight. She motioned with her hands for silence. "If you're among the first 50 racers to reach Novus, you'll join us as a valued member of Joyan society henceforth. I guarantee you will fall in love with our communities, and trust me when I say we can't wait to meet the lucky winners. So, race hard, be safe, and we shall see you on the other side." The crowd clapped, whistling and cheering. The CEO signaled her colleagues, and all of the representatives engaged their boot thrusters. In a synchronized motion, the group rose into the sky. Canna deferred her spotlight to steel. The metal-legged rep wore an ornate suit jacket with tails and held up a strange, wide-barreled gun. We moved forward. "One last reminder, if anybody has medical or vehicle troubles, we will see it and arrange to get you as soon as feasible. We will also see any kind of aggression, so ensure you play nice." His tone deepened for those last pointed words, hard as quenched Damascus. But then it brightened again. "We wish you the best of luck as you venture forth to grasp your destiny. The race will begin when this gun fires." He raised the weapon, finger hovering over the trigger. Chaos erupted from the competitors. Engines roared to life, drowning out the already boisterous spectators. Energized yips and hollers sliced the air as racers psyched themselves up. I ran a soothing hand down Herc's neck when he startled, prancing and shaking his head. Grabbing the suede saddle horn, I planted a foot into the stirrup and swung into the saddle. Herc reared, and I compensated, whispering, "Shh, big guy. I know it's a lot, but I'm right here with you. Shh." His heavy front hooves thumped back onto the ground. "That's a good boy. We can do this, you and me. Let's crush this race and build our dream ranch. I'll do the human stuff. You do the horse stuff. Deal?" Herc's prancing lessened, but I could tell he was still nervous. His mood-ring eye never lied. Knowing Herc, he just needed to get running, and everything would be fine. Adrenaline coursed through my veins, activating and invigorating my senses. The breeze felt crisper against my skin, my vision clearer, hearing sharper. This is it. The government rep shouted, "Ready?" Engines revved, gripping the reins. I leaned forward, heels down. "Set!" A hush descended over the crowd. Bang! And that's the end of chapter 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Hope you'll grab a copy if it's something that piqued your interest there, alright? Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.